Hello everyone, Violin Nabonsav and welcome. Dunia hi physics ading our first chapter. Motion in 1D ipat diwitan. Hichi textbook ko velojun. So the first chapter must pen who units and dimensions is ana. But we will do that chapter in the very last. Achina pen in bolio. Aji chu biham dele dimensions ki hol ho hi dimensions hol masanga ho formula ho jong na. Head masat ngayin tin. Aji formula ni hello wala dimensions hold on to hung hazab de ja. So those things we'll do in the very last. Okay. So we'll start with motion in 1D. Masapena to ni lecture hi distance, displacement, average speed, average velocity, speed, velocity, acceleration. The basic quantity ho hai na motion in 1D hi so hai then. Okay. So before jumping into those quantity, motion in 1D hum kiti phare na. One dimension chu pitina. So what do you mean by one dimension? One dimension basically means straight line. Na. One dimension hum kiti alachun chu pitina ham tela straight line. Motion in a straight line tine. So abana hichi hi motion in 1D, motion in 2D, motion in a plane. Hichi ho si hi alang pi ahi pi kitem tela hicho kinematics zong kiti. So kinematics chu pi ham tela study of motion. Na 1D, 2D, akigoma relative motion abona hai na hicho kinematics kiti na. Hichi kinematics sunga cho 1D pa cho involve masadiu. Chizo phale 2D projectiles involve. Okay, and one more thing, rectilinear kiti phale chun piti na ha. So same thing, if a motion, if an object moves along a straight line, na motion along a straight line chizo rectilinear motion kiti. So let's jump into distance and displacement. Distance pitina. So distance means the total path, the total length covered when you move from one point to another point. Displacement pitina, shortest possible path. Okay, so let's keep this definition for just like this. So I will show you here. Suppose a particle goes from point A to point B to point C to point D. Na chalai graph ang kipi pahi velauchun. So if I start from A, so A is the initial point. Okay, pan no. A para B ka chichu. Okay, so that is the first part, and I go from B to C. I go from C to D. Kutile. So tell me what is the total distance? Total distance ko holding alchun. Total distance pitina ham tele total path covered. Na A para B ka chilachun. Is that A para B? See, this is y-axis lang hi. So this is how much? You see, this is 4 na. Okay, and then how much is the x-axis? Chipen hi 3. Kutila chalai 4 kaniya, chalai 3 ka hiya lechun. Hichi chalai right triangle a hichi right triangle pa hi. In this right triangle you have 4, you have 3, so this would be 5 na Pythagoras theorem ajo. So AB is 5. Okay, BC khuzat deha. Bilaujan anilanga he chihi zat ha chihi 2 jala na 3 apara 5 to 2. Okay, from C to D to zat ham. So same A to B to C to D ke bangcha bilaujan na chilai triangle he bilaujan. So chilai triangle hi chihi 4, you have 3, and then this should be 5. Okay, so from C to D it is 5. Kutila distance should be ham A apara B, B apara C, C apara D na. A apara D ti tachana chia distance pachu it is 5 plus 2 plus 5. So that means 12. Okay, that is the total distance. And displacement here behind. So displacement means the shortest path. Na A apara D ka chia lachun. So if you are asked displacement, so the way to find displacement is you have to join or you can connect the initial and the final point by a straight line. Okay. Hold on to the initial. See, if I go from A to D, so D is the final na. D pa hi final hiza, A hi starting point hiza initial. Initial to final pa hi straight line ga join lechun. So this will give you displacement. Okay, so that is how much. If I see here, it is 8. Okay, so displacement is 8. Now displacement to distance ki hi danchu. Distance to total path length cover hiza. Displacement to shortest possible path. Na initial to final to straight line and join wale, you'll get displacement. Okay, so here just let's go through this one. So distance means, like I say, total path length covered. Displacement to shortest path is how to find displacement. So the magnitude of displacement is the length of straight line joining the initial and the final position. Okay. Line kan la to. So to find displacement, join or connect the initial and the final with a straight line. Okay, so remember. And now distance to displacement ki na jab so distance is a scalar quantity, displacement is a vector quantity. Distance na ji suppose when you write this distance, so if you say let's say x is distance na kutila displacement is at so we'll write here x bar as it's a displacement of vectors na. Okay, and generally you'll find that the distance is always greater than or equals to displacement, the magnitude of displacement. Okay, so like example I have distance is at 12 displacement to 8, so you can see the distance here is greater than displacement. Okay, let's solve some questions on that. Okay, first question is from H.C. Verma. So a man goes 50 meter due north, 40 meter due east, 20 meter due south. Okay, so let's go. So let's say I start from A. I go 50 meters north. Okay, 50 meter north to point B. Okay, abana chepi 40 meter due is north is southwest and here na iti kizi ja chalang east is chi north is chi west chi south. Okay, so I go from towards the north from A to B, and B to C I go towards east 40 meter to point C na abana chu hinang kachia 20 meter due south. So 20 meter due south, so let's say I go to point D. Now A to B, B to C, C to D, G given. So question is what? So what is the distance he has to walk to reach the field? Field so D hina. Okay, so D is your final point. Okay, and A is the initial point. So now they ask you distance. What the distance is at them? Okay, right here. Distance is equals to total paths. So na A part B to 50, B part C to 40, abana C part D to 20. Total is at 110 meter. Okay, so your distance is 110 meter. Abana to displacement na. Displacement ki holdan to iti ki holta. So you have to join the initial and the final point with a straight line. Okay, so here one thing. So what I can do here is I can so here this is how much? 40 meter. So that means how much is this? So this is nothing but 30 meter. No, as you CD ko 20 hilachun. So here also 20. So that means remaining is 30. So if I joined A and D with a straight line, so now what do you get here? So here I get a triangle, right triangle. Yeah. So this is 30, this is 40, so this must be 50. Okay, using Pythagoras theorem, right? So AD is 50. So the displacement is how much? Displacement is equals to 50 meter. Okay, so that is how you find out distance and displacement. And now see you can also verify here. So the distance is 110, displacement is 50. Now so you can see that the distance is greater than displacement. Okay, so in general, so the distance has to be greater than or equals to the displacement. Now, so can you tell me when the distance and the displacement will be same? So when you move along a straight line. Okay, so when you move along the straight path, suppose I have a straight path. So I go from A to D. Okay, this is a straight path. Okay, I'll just write it here. Let's remove this. Suppose I go from point A to point D. Nah, kutile ia para kepana. So this is initial point. Okay, and this is final point. Ia para D chen kachia la chun A to initial point is a starting point na, D to final point chula. Kutila suppose A to D ki ka distance by 100 meter diote. Kutila distance travels is at 100 meter na. So what is displacement? Same 100 meter. Okay, so remember when you move in a straight line, your distance and displacement will be same. Okay, let's move to the next question. abana he vilauchun a particle start from origin, okay, so it goes along x-axis to a point 20, 0 and then returns along the same path to the point minus 20, 0. Okay, question is find the distance and the displacement of the particle. So simply draw the graph. Origin apat ki patchula na, origin chu is at 0, 0. Okay, origin apat ki pada positive x lang ka chiding, so I have to go till 20, 0. So let's name them. A apat ki padin, so I go till b. Okay, and then I have to come back, returns along the same path till the point minus 20, 0 na, minus 20, 0 cho hilai ha. So it is on the negative side. See the whole path, I go from A, okay, I come back and then reach, let's say, point C. Okay, kutile starting point cho hilai ha, starting point to initial point to A chola na, final point to hilai ha, final point to C. Okay, I start from A, I go to 20, 0 at B and then returns along the same path to point C, that is minus 20, 0. Kutile masapena to distance choose at them. So what is the distance? So distance is nothing but AB na plus abana B apat ka chintin A chan ka hong thong ding abana chu A apat ka chia C chan ka chi ke chula na. See, this whole part is what. So I go from A to B, okay, and then I come back from B to A, okay, and then I go from A to C, right? So this is your whole path. Okay, khutile is that the he A part B ka chile 20 na, B part A ka hung 20, abana A part C chen ka chile 20. Total is how much? 60 meter. Okay, so 20, 20, 20. Total distance to 60 meter na. Khutile abana he piham displacement iti hol ya. So join the initial and the final point with a straight line. So initial point is A, okay, and final point is C. If I join them with a straight line, is that so this is nothing but 20. Okay, so displacement is how much? 20 meter. Na chila jong hi verify le chun distance to displacement sanga tam zo chula na. Okay, so the so this is the answer. So let's move on to the next question. So next question, I have a particle goes around a semicircular path. Okay, having radius r, what is the distance and the displacement? Okay, so let's say this is the semicircular path. I start from A, I go till the point B. But the radius choose at kpm, radius to r. Okay, now if I go from A to B, total distance choose at the circular path. If I have a circle, na full circle kaniyala chun circumference ko ha. Circumference of a circle is nothing but 2 pi r. Okay, so that means what is the circumference for a semicircle? So divide by 2, 2 gets cancel out, I have pi into r. Okay, kutile circumference of a semicircle to pi into r. Na a pat b semicircular pada kachiyala chun distance chuzat deham. So distance is nothing but the circumference of the semicircular path. So that is pi into r. Okay, abana so displacement chuzat deham. So displacement is what you have to join the initial and the final point with a straight line. Kutile a to b his straight line aga join lechun. So how much will you get? So this is nothing but the diameter, na 2r. Okay, so displacement is 2r. Okay, so this much we have done 3 questions on distance and displacement. I think you get the idea, na, the concept. Distance to beham till a total path to distance is a displacement to you join the initial and the final point with a straight line. Okay, so next we have average speed and average velocity. Theory jong okay, it is not that required to study many theories na. Formula pa he chin leo chun average speed chu hong ki phale piha. Average speed formula is total distance by total time. Okay, so total distance by total time is average speed. What is average velocity? Total displacement by total time. Okay, So just keep in mind those two formulas. Average speed to what is average speed? It tells us how fast an object move over a given interval of time. Yeah. So in 1 hour, how fast is the object moving? Okay, so in a given time interval, so how fast an object is moving. So that is basically average speed or average velocity. Speed ang kutipala chun, so that is scalar. Na velocity ang kutipala chu vector. Okay, vector ahizia chu velocity na chu displacement hong kila ding, speed na chu distance hong kila chu. Aji chu distance hong chu scalar chu la na, displacement hong chu vector. Okay, so remember the formula. So let's do some questions on this one. Okay, so first question you see. A man walks at a speed of 6 km per hour for 1 kilometer. Okay, kilometer khachu 6 km per hour achi chula na abana chu piham. So for the next 1 kilometer he walks with 8 km per hour. Okay, so this much is given. So what is his average speed? Question chun bido ha, question chun average speed ado chula na. Okay, so let's see. So let's say for 1 kilometer, so person walks with 6 km per hour. Okay, for the next 1 kilometer he walks with 8 km per hour. Na khutile average speed formula chapita. Average speed formula chapita. Average speed is nothing but total distance by total time. Na khutile total distance ka het ngai, total time ka het ngai. Okay, so these two are required. Khutile chela heavy chun total distance is them. So you can see that here in the first part I traveled 1 kilometer, in the second part I traveled 1 kilometer. Na total is at 2 kilometers. Na. Okay, so total distance is given. Now we have found that it is 2 kilometers. Okay, so now we have to find total time. So we don't know what is the total time. So let's say the first part he goes with time t1. Okay, so the second part he goes in time t2. Khutile time chu piha distance by speed chule na. So distance to speed into time is a speed to distance by time is a. So time is distance by speed. Okay, so what is time t1? Distance to 1 kilometer divided by 6 km per hour. Okay, kilometer gets cancelled out. I have 1 by 6 hour. So similarly, what is t2? t2 is 1 divided by 8 hour. Okay, kilometer gets cancelled out. You have hour. Kutila total time total time is nothing but t1 plus t2. Okay, so that is how much? 1 by 6 plus 1 by 8. Right? So how much is this? 8 and 6 LCM is 24. Okay, so 6 4 are 24, 3 are 24. So I have 7 by 24 hour. So this is your total time. So now I have total distance, I have total time. So tell me, what is the average velocity? Total distance to 2 km na divided by total time 7 by 24. So 24 goes up. So 2 into 24 by 7. So which is 48 by 7 km per hour. Okay, so this is your answer. So the average speed is 48 by 7 km per hour. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Question ka solve for here na vedwa agan basis only, so you can reword it again. Okay, so here you see, so this is another question from H.C. Verma. So a car is traveling in a straight line, straight path. Okay, so it goes with speed v1 for the first half of the total time. So here, okay, let's see. So and then he goes with speed v2 for the next half of the total time. Nah. So let's say total time is equals to t. Suppose the total time is t. Okay, so it is given that, so in the first half of the total time, so that means in the first t by 2. Okay, first half of the total time, that means t by 2. So the car is moving with how much? Speed v1. Nah, abana next half achu speed is v2. Okay, so first half it goes with speed v1, second half it goes with speed v2. Hutile chila hi equation na hi velocity total time kipita na. So here we have total time is t. So what we don't have is the total distance. Aji average velocity formula chipiham So average velocity formula is total distance divided by total time. Okay, so now we have to find total distance. So let's say the first part is x1. Okay, the distance traveled in the first half of the total time is x1, and the next half of the total time is x2. Kutile aso formula kasi the distance to be speed into time na. So speed is v1 into time to t by 2. Okay, abana x2 to be speed into time. Nah. Okay, then what is the total distance? X total is x1 plus x2. Okay, so which is v1 into t by 2 plus v2 into t by 2. So this is nothing but v1 plus v2 divided by 2 into t. Okay, so now you see you have found total distance. Okay, you also know total time, so simply divide them. Okay, so what is average velocity? So total distance, so which is nothing but x1 plus x2 or xt, so which is v1 plus v2 by 2 into t. Okay, divided by total time chusan t. Okay, t. So tt gets cancelled out. So how much do you get? v1 plus v2 divided by 2. Okay, so this is your average speed. Okay, next question. So here you are given a car is traveling on a straight path, similar question. So with speed v, so now you're given the first half of total distance. Okay, previous question also biham first half of total time na. Jela question evaluation first half of total distance. Okay, with speed v2 for the next half of total distance. Okay, abano question be the average speed na. Okay, so question is asking you average speed. So here see, you're given first half of total distance, next half of total distance. So what I can do is I can take the first half of total distance, that means x by 2. So let's say let total distance equals to x. Now total distance to x kalale first half of total distance to x by 2. Chalai to speed to v1 na, speed v1. So next half to x by 2 speed v2. Okay, so this is given. First half of total distance x by 2 to speed v1 atsia. So next half to speed v2 atsi na. So then what is missing here? Average speed formula to total distance by total time na. Total distance kepia about total time umlaw. Okay, so we have to find total time. So let's say in the first part it goes with it takes t1 time to travel the first half of distance. So what is time distance by speed? Distance is x by 2 divided by speed. Is that x by 2 into v1. But let's say it takes t2 in the next half. Total x by 2 divided by v2. Okay. Yeah, so that how much is this? X by 2 into v2. So this is t2, this is t1. Okay. Total time is that total time is equals to t1 plus t2. Okay. So t1 to x by 2 v1, x by 2 v2. So how much is this? So I will take x by 2 outside. I have 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. Okay, or you can also solve this one. X by 2 into, so v1 plus v2 divided by v1 into v2. LCM la lang plus leuchen. Okay. So now I have found total time. Okay, I know total distance. So what is average speed? Average speed is equals to total distance to x divided by total time to x by 2 into v1 plus v2 divided by v1 into v2. Yeah. So x gets cancelled out. So you have 2 into v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. Okay, so this is your answer. The average speed of the car. Okay, so next question. So this is it's a 2023 NEET question. Okay, so let's see. A vehicle travels half of the total distance with speed v. Okay, and then you're given the remaining distance is half of total distance to via children remaining to half of total distance mama children na. Okay, so remaining distance with speed v2. So what is the average speed? Okay, so you have traveled, so let's say let total distance equals to x na. Kutile first half of total distance to x by 2 to speed via t na, but the next half to x by 2 till I speed to 2v. Okay, so this is given. So now you know the total distance. Okay, total distance is x. So what is missing? So t is given. T is missing, not total time. Let's say initially it takes t1 to travel first half. So what is t1? X by 2v. Okay, x by 2 divided by v, x by 2v. But now let's say it takes t2 to travel the next half of total distance. How much is that? X by 2 into 2v. Okay, so x by 2 divided by 2v, so that means x by 2 into 2, so you have here x by 4v. Okay, so what is the total time? So t total is equals to x by 2v plus x by 4v. Nah, it's the LCM na leo so I can write here x by 4v plus x by 4v. Okay, now so how much is this? 3 into x by 4v. Now total time is at 3x by 4v. What is the average speed? Average speed should be total distance by total time. Total distance to x, total time to 3x divided by 4v. So x gets cancelled out, 4v goes upward. You have 4v by 3. Okay, so the answer is 4v by 3. Now, NEET question. So from where did I take this question? From H.C. Verma. Okay. So this is why I emphasize H.C. Verma objective 1 kuna solve the. So that is very, very important. Okay, let's move on. So this is another question from NEET. Question it is very similar. I'll just give you the hints and then you solve it by yourself. Okay, so here you are given person travels with in a straight line, move with constant v1 for distance x. X distance to v1 at so and then constant velocity v2 for the next equal distance, for the next x distance mama to speed v2 at. Okay, so here I can draw here. So x distance to speed v1 at x distance mama to speed v2 at. So then what is the average velocity? It's line head to straight line on palakun. So when you're going in a straight line, so distance and displacement are the same thing. Okay, so if distance and displacement are the same thing, that means the speed and the velocity are also the same thing. Okay, so don't get confused here. The total distance is so what is the total distance? So x plus x, so that means 2x. Okay, total distance is 2x. Time ki hello na, you have to find out the time. So what is time t1? X by v1. So what is time t2? X by v2. Okay, go to the total times is that total time to t1 plus t2 na. So x by v1 plus x by v2. Okay, so how much is this? 1 by v1, 1 by v2. Okay, so I have total distance, I have total time. So find out the average speed or average velocity. So total distance to 2x divided by, now total time is x into 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. X gets cancelled out. And one more thing, so here you're given average velocity is v. Okay, so v is given. Average velocity here v is equals to 2 by 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. Okay, so here one thing I'll do is I will transfer this whole thing on the left side and I will bring this down. Okay, so what will you get? So I will get 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. So this is equals to 2 by v. Now option la ho chependi ha. So option B. Okay, so 2 by v equals to 1 by v1 plus 1 by v2. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so this question I'll write here homework. So this is for you, you try it. So this is a G-mains question na. Velocity kibang chatweta. So first half distance x to speed v1 achia, distance x mama to speed v2 achia na. Kutile average velocity to v hile, what is the relation between v1, v2, v? Okay, so similar to the previous question na. Okay, you try this. Okay, so next question. So now see up to previous question na, so I involve chanu chu hichu tu chana dinga G-mains to need adiki dong ta so it is asked and it is also repeated na to hi. So now the next part is a little bit higher level, need achu tu chana hichi question hichi level chani ki dong khanai long na, but they have asked in G-mains. Okay, so it is better to prepare it. So let's see the question. A particle traveled first half of the total distance with speed v0, okay, and the remaining part, so remaining second half na. So first half to x by 2 to v0 achia, remaining x by 2 to pitia. So was covered with velocity v1 for half of the time and v2 for the next half of total time of the time. Okay, so I'll just show you here. So we take here total, so let total distance equals to x na, then first half to x by 2 is a second half to x by 2. Okay, so first half to x by 2, second half to x by 2. First half to speed v0 achi na, upon a second half to itichia. So second half, it is given that, so the first half of the second half, first half of the time in the second example, let's say, so here it takes t1. Okay, so let's say second half takes t2 na, check given to t2 by 2, half of the second part adinga t2 adinga half so na, so half of the second part it goes with speed v1 and half of the second part it goes with speed v2. Okay. You take some time understand the question first. Okay, so first half of the total distance x by 2 to, so let's say it takes t1, right? So the particle was going with speed v0. Okay, and then the second part x by 2, so let's say it takes t2 to travel the second half part, second half of the total distance. Okay, so now we are going to split the second half into two. Second half sunga half time pasana. So here in the second half, the half of the time for the second half of total distance. Okay, so second half of total distance adding a time, so let's say time t2 is what it takes to cover the whole distance. So now you split this time t2 into half again, t2 by 2, t2 by 2. Okay, so t2 by 2 it goes with speed v1 and t2 by 2 it goes with speed v2. Okay, so that is the question. So they ask you what is the average velocity. If a particle is traveling in a straight line, so like I told you, average speed, average velocity, they are the same thing. Okay, so now see, you are given total distance na, average velocity holding as a total distance umta about total time ngai cha chola na. So total time should be so what is total time? Total time is t1 plus t2. Okay, so what is t1? X by 2 into v0. Okay, so what is t2? So t2 part we don't know yet, we have to calculate. Okay, so let's say in this part, okay, so let's say this part it travels x1 distance, so this part it travels x2 distance. Na kutele x1 plus x2 chuzan nothing but x by 2, right? Because that is the second part of the total distance, so that means x1 plus x2 will be x by 2. Kutele x1 chuzan x1 is what? Speed into time na, so v1 into t2 by 2. Okay, so what is x2? x2 to v2 into t2 by 2. Okay, so you solve this, how much do you get? So here I will have here, so t2 by 2 comes outside, I have v1 plus v2. Okay, so this is nothing but x by 2. Okay, so now 2 gets cancelled out. So tell me what is t2? So t2 is nothing but x divided by v1 plus v2. Okay, so now we have t1, so t1 is known, we also have t2, so now we can find out total time, right? So what is the total time? t1 plus t2, x by 2 v naught plus x by v1 plus v2. Okay, so if you solve this, how much will you get? So x comes out, I will have here, I'll just solve it. Okay, v1 plus v2 plus 2 into v naught divided by 2 into v naught into v1 plus v2. Okay, so now you have the total time. So what is the average velocity? So that means total distance divided by total distance x divided by total time season. So v1 plus v2 plus 2 into v naught divided by 2 v naught into v1 plus v2. Okay, x gets cancelled out. So how much is remaining? So v average is 2 into v naught v1 plus v2 divided by v1 plus v2 plus 2 into v naught. Okay, so this is the average velocity. Derivation he ball lang na. So try to understand it. So it is better to just memorize this formula. Memorize na. But if you can memorize it, you solve it 1, 2, 2, 3 times, then you will by heart it. Okay. Okay. So let's solve 1 or 2 questions on this one. Okay. So this is a G-main question on 2024. Now, let's see. A particle is moving in a straight line, covers half of the distance with speed 6 meters per second. So the other half, equals 2 equal time interval. T2 by 2, T2 by 2 equal. So it goes with 9 meters per second and it goes with 15 meters per second. Okay. So you see it is like this. So first half to x by 2 to it goes with how much? 9 meters per second. About a second half to niya ki split kit chula niya split va. First part to okay, first part it goes with 6. The second part it goes with 9 meters per second and it goes with 15 meters per second. As well as in compare lesson as well as v naught v1 to v2 so here 6 is nothing but v naught. So 9 is v1 and then v2 is 15. Okay. So if you remember that formula, so our formula is that v average is equals to, so 2 into v naught, v1 plus v2 divided by v1 plus v2 plus 2 into v naught. Now value we put 2 into v naught is 6. Okay, 9 plus 15 divided by 9 plus 15 plus 2 into 6. Okay, so how much is this? 6 2 are 12. 9 to 15 to 24, 9 15 24 plus 6 2 are 12. Okay, so 12 into 24 divided by 36. Cancel the options and put them into 3 to 36. Now 12 into 3 to 36, 3 into 8 are 24. So the answer is 8 meters per second. Okay. Okay, so this is a G-main question. Need a wang to hit and I don't think they will ask you this level, but in case they want to make the question difficult, okay, so they can put this question. As you G-main G-main head G-main to NEET by NTA and conduct. So both of them are conducted by NTA. So therefore the questions are, there is a slight chance that the questions will be similar. I have G-main question a level low, so it is higher. Okay. So better to know it. Okay. So next question. So here I have a semicircular path. Particle starts from A, so with speed v. Okay, it follows a semicircular path having radius r to reach another point B. So as shown in the figure. So what is the average velocity? To have path he straight line loads. So if it is not a straight line, then the distance and the displacement are different. So that means the speed and the velocities will be different. Okay. And one more thing. So when you say speed, okay. So when you say speed, so speed is nothing but when you travel in a straight line, it is the magnitude of velocity. Okay. So here it is given it travels with speed v. So it follows a semicircular path, radius r to another point B. So that means the initial point is A. So what is the final point? Final point is B. Okay. khutile chila hi velocity average velocity holding also displacement ngai cha chula na khutile displacement so hol halo chila hi. So you can simply join the initial and the final point, so you'll have 2r. Okay, so 2r is the displacement na. So displacement is nothing but 2r. Okay, so but I need time also, right? Because average velocity is total displacement by total time. Okay, so v average is how much? Total displacement divided by total time. I don't know what is total time, so how do you find total time? So here you're given speed. Okay, so you're given speed, you're not given velocity, you're given speed, so you can also find here distance, right? Okay, tell me what is the total distance here. So if I go from A to B, so what is my total distance? Pi into r. So I bolt out pi into r. So that means so here I have speed, I have distance, that means I can find out time. Time is at so total time is equals to total distance divided by speed. Okay, so total time is pi r by v. So you put these things here. So pi r divided by v. So how much you get? R gets cancelled out. So 2v by pi. Okay, so this is the average velocity. Okay, so this much was questions on average velocity. It's a question. I think if you understand all of this question, around 5-6 questions, patian here chinvana. So if you are comfortable, so I think this much is also enough. Now question, banan solve benum wala you can start doing tests. Okay, so this 5-6 question covers up all the question. This question we achidan hai velocity ki bangso ke chena pattern pa hai. Okay. So now we are going to move into something called instantaneous speed and instantaneous velocity. So there is nothing much here. Okay, example na teka na chu lam ka pa na aizol ka chiding ale. So let's say total distance to 300 kilometer. Okay, kutile chilai chu pha result lo nam, so let's say 10 hours. Okay, kutile average velocity chu ham total distance to 300 na divided by total time to 10 hours. So I will have 30 kilometer per hour. Okay, that is the average na, so I bolt out chula na. Kutile to hai, so we have something called instantaneous. Instantaneous should be ham tele, so when the time is negligible. Okay, so in maths we say delta t, or you can say t tends to 0. Na time to val total time to time instantaneous kiti pass when you compare while instantaneous is very small. Okay, for example an old bazaar to new bazaar hona. If you want to go from old bazaar to new bazaar, kinai cha chula na lam ka par aizol to compare lejon old bazaar par new bazaar jan nai jo chula na, and the time it takes will also be very small. Okay, example old bazaar par new bazaar cho, so let's say 500 meter, 0.5 kilometer. Okay, so let's say we take 5 minutes. Na kutile chalai ka average velocity jo average velocity jo 0.5 divided by 5 to in terms of hours so 5 by 60. Okay, so how much will you get here? So here I'm going to have, so 0.5 into 60 divided by 5. Okay, so how much is this? 6 kilometer per hour. Na hichipahi, so the average velocity when the time becomes negligible. Okay, so that is what we call instantaneous. Now instantaneous pahi, so instantaneous speed is also known as what we call speed. Na speed na tipa ko na, so that is nothing but the instantaneous speed. Okay, so velocity is nothing but instantaneous velocity. Okay, so remember instantaneous means negligible time. Okay, so how do you express this in mathematics? So mathematically, so here so v is equals to as well average velocity average speed to delta x by delta t na. So when you put a limit t tends to 0, okay, so t tends to 0, so that means for a negligible amount of time, so the average velocity now becomes instantaneous. Okay, so the instantaneous speed is also known as simply speed. Okay, so similarly instantaneous velocity is also known as velocity. Nah, okay, so speed is, remember, dx by dt, and velocity is dx by dt. So you can observe one thing. So here I have put small d. Okay, so now we're going into differential calculus. So small d chu biham tele, so small d means for small time, right? So delta kiti chu, it is big value. Okay, so delta means big value, so small d means small value. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, so remember one more thing here. So here speed is scalar, as I say about, so velocity is vector. Okay, so speed is dx by dt, velocity is dx bar by dt. And then you have acceleration. Acceleration, so it is nothing but the rate of change of velocity with time. So v2 minus v1 by t2 minus t1. Okay, and then you have delta v by delta t. Okay, that is acceleration. So you can also write instantaneous acceleration. So when you write instantaneous acceleration, you're going to put small d here in place of delta. Okay, so acceleration is a vector. Okay, so remember all these small things. So a formula how to, let's see what something here. So what is v? So v is nothing but dx by dt. Okay, and a is nothing but dv by dt. Suppose you're given x, distance. So if I differentiate this x with respect to time, so I will get what? Velocity. Okay, so this velocity, again, if I differentiate with respect to time, I will get what? Acceleration. So if you differentiate displacement or distance, okay, you will get velocity or speed. So one time differentiate the distance or displacement, you'll get a speed or velocity. And if you differentiate the speed or the velocity, you'll get acceleration. Okay, and so here I can do one more thing. So here in place of v, I can put this whole thing. So I will have here d by dt into dx by dt. So this is nothing but a. Okay, so this whole big thing, how do we write in maths? So we write as d2x divided by dt square. So that is a. Okay, now don't be scared. Okay, so d2x by dt square, so you differentiate x twice. So here if you differentiate x 2 times, you'll get acceleration. Okay, so remember. So let's solve some questions on this one. So first question. So this is from NCERT. Okay, solve examples. So you're given position of object moving along x-axis is given by, so this is given. Okay, so the position of the object is given as 8.5 2.5 t squared. So question is, what is the velocity? So at t equals to 0 and t equals to 2 seconds. X kipia velocity low. So how do? You have to differentiate that x one time. Okay, so I have shown you here. So if you differentiate x, you'll get v. So differentiate x, you'll get v. Okay, so you do that. So dx by dt. What's d by dt into 8.5 plus d by dt into 2.5 into t square. Okay, differentiation bolan head all, so please go back and see the basic math part. Okay, so all of you should know how to do this one. As it's concept. Okay, so here if you differentiate the 8.5 is constant, so constant differentiation to 0. Okay, plus, so here I have a constant, I'll take it outside along with variable, so d by dt into t square. Is that 2.5 into 2t. T square differentiation to 2t. Okay, so here I will have 5 into t, so this is nothing but v. dx by dt to v chula. Velocity at t equals to 0. Okay, at t equals to 0, v chuzan 5 into 0, t hel kun 0 put 0. Okay, so the velocity at t equals to 0 is 0. At t equals to 2, okay, velocity is what? 5 into 2, so that means 10 meter per second. Okay, so velocity at t equals to 2 is 10 meter per second. Next question, what is the average velocity between t equals to 2 and t equals to 4? Average average velocity to pita formula to total displacement by total time. Okay, so otherwise you can write here x final, that means x2 minus x1 divided by t2 minus t1. Na x final minus x initial, t final minus t initial. X final to that ham. So here x final to t equals to 4. So na you put t equals to 4 here in. So x equals to, so let's say x2. I will put here 8.5 plus 2.5 into 4 squared. So here I have 8.5 plus 4 are 16. 16 into 5 by 2 is 40. Okay, so you will have here 48.5. So 48.5 minus x1 to that ham. So t equals to 2. You put t equals to 2 here. So x1 equals to 8.5 plus 2.5 into 2 square. Nah. So 8.5 plus 5 by 2 into 4. So 2, 2, 5, 2 are 10. So I will have here 18.5. Okay, so here I'll write 18.5 divided by 4 minus 2. Is that ham? So 48 minus 18, so I will have here 30 divided by 2. So that means 15th. Okay, so average velocity is that ham. So therefore average velocity is nothing but 15 meter per second. Okay, so that is your answer. Now, chipen hi NCRT solve example is so you can also go there in and solve it. Okay, abo ina khat ko NCRT ako solution na kipi ajang khun, so they will try to minimize it. Na step tam ta skip betaw. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Okay, so one question from Gmain. So the distance traveled by particle in time t is given as x equals to 2.5 into t squared. What is the instantaneous speed at time t equals to 5 seconds? So this is a simple na v to that ham dx by dt. So you differentiate it. So d by dt into 2.5 into t squared. Okay, so 2.5 is constant, comes out d by dt into t squared. So how much is this? 2.5 into 2t. So that means nothing but 5 into t. Okay, so at how much t equals to 5, v to that ham 5 into 5, so that means 25 meter per second. Okay, so simple. Simple question, na? So next question, position of particle is given like this, x equals to 5t square, okay, minus 4t plus 5, na? So what is the velocity at t equals to 2 seconds? So same question. Okay, so you try this one. Okay, so if you differentiate this, how much will you have? So v is equals to dx by dt, 5t square differentiation z ham, so 10t minus 4t differentiation to 4. Okay, so this is the velocity. So at t equals to 2, v to z ham 10 into 2 minus 4, so 20 minus 4, so which is 16 meter per second. Okay, so simple question. Okay, so you try it again. Solution na masang menon. Just pause the video and you try it yourself. Okay, so that way you learn better. Next question, chipen hi NEET question. Okay, so 2023. So you're given r. R is given as 4t I cap plus 2t square z cap plus 5 k cap. I cap z cap don't think that it is a tough question. Okay, it is the same thing. Magnitude and direction of velocity. So what is velocity? At t equals to 1 second. Velocity, so you have to differentiate the whatever is given. Position kiti, so displacement. Okay, that is simply displacement. So you differentiate this dr by dt, so which is nothing but v. Okay, so if I differentiate 4t, I will have 4 I cap. If I differentiate 2t square, I will have 4t z cap. So differentiation of constant 5 is 0. Okay, so this is your velocity. So at t equals to 1, what is the velocity? So I will have here 4 I cap plus 4 z cap. Okay. Now, option I have election 4 to 45 degree angles on picture. See, I have covered vectors in 2 videos. Okay, in basic part. Position vector. Okay, so every coordinate point you can represent it in a vector. Okay, so v velocity 4 I cap 4 z cap so you can also convert this into Cartesian coordinate points. Okay, so this is nothing but at one point, okay, So at one point, if I take here, I have 4 along 4 meter per second, and on the other side I have 4 meter per second. Okay, so although this is not a position, so what you can do is it is like 4,4 and 0,0 na chi hila hevila chun chi ham 45 degree. Okay, and what is the magnitude of this? Chila he chi ham chipen he 4 chula na. So how much is this? This is 4. So using Pythagoras theorem, you'll have 4 root 2. Okay, so answer is 4 root 2 and it is 45 degree. Okay, so using vectors. Okay, so if you have a doubt here, please go back and see the vector part. Okay, we have done position vector, okay, displacement vector. Nah. Okay, so you have one question on G-mains. So here you're given particle is moving in a straight line. So position of particle is given. Okay, so they ask you what is the velocity when the acceleration becomes 0. Okay, so now it is a slight twist. So they are asking you acceleration also. Okay, indirectly. Kutile v whole naring aju ipiha. So x to have any differentiate ngai jula na. Kutile 3t square minus 12t plus 20. Okay, so this is your velocity. Next, what else is given? So you're given that acceleration is also 0. Kutile v ko na acceleration component nga so v ka differentiate ngai jala na. Okay, so what is a dv by dt? So how much is this? 6t minus 12. Okay, you're given that this value is 0. Acceleration is 0. So you solve this one. So 6t is equals to 12. So 6 to are 12. So what is the time? So time is 2 seconds. Na Ebola acceleration is 0 apiu ham de time to indirectly anpiu. So okay, so now you have to find out at t equals to 2. So how much is the velocity? So just put the value. So v equals to 0 at t equals to 2. So v equals to 3 into 2 square minus 12 into 2 plus 20. Nah. So 3 12 minus 24 plus 20. So how much is this? Minus 12 plus 20. So this is 8 meter per second. Okay, so option C. Okay, so we have one last question. This is from H.C. Verma. I'm just putting it here because it involves average acceleration, average velocity, acceleration, velocity question. So let's solve this one. Okay, this is from H.C. Verma. First question should be velocity though. So I'm going to skip some of them. Okay, so I think you can do it. So velocity at t equals to 4. So you differentiate this. So you'll have 3t square plus 4 for 2 or 8t minus 2. So here you put t equals to 4 here and then you'll get the answer. Okay, I'll just put this here. About acceleration. Acceleration you have to differentiate this. Na velocity pa differentiate bolation it being put there 6t plus 8. Okay, at t equals to 4 you put t equals to 4 here. Okay, so that is acceleration. And then next is what? Next you have average velocity from t equals to 4 to t equals 0 to 4. It's see, we have done the same questions already. Okay, so I bold down which is the okay, so here na see the way we do average velocity. So x2 minus x1. Okay, so these things exactly the same thing. So you apply it here. Okay. Okay, so I will leave it for you na. So average velocity should be x final minus x initial divided by t final minus t initial. Okay, so similarly average acceleration to so now you're going to have v. Okay, so v final minus v initial, so t final minus t initial. Yeah. You find out the velocity here. So this is v initial, so this is v final. Okay, similarly so this is x initial, x final. Yeah. Okay, so you try this. X final t equals to 4 to put you. So that will be x final. Okay. Now v final at t equals to 4. What is the velocity? You put it here, t equals to 4, and then you'll get the v final. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to Okay, so one more question is here. So this is from 2024 NEET exam. Okay, so here you're given x is given in terms of alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Okay, na nekicha na ding wa alpha, beta, zazaran koi khom. So it is very simple. So they ask you what is the ratio of initial velocity and initial acceleration. Initial chopiha. So initial means time t equals to 0. Okay, so initial means time t equals to 0. Kutel initial velocity x ki pi chu na kutel v chu za de ham achunga pa ko differentiate bolation 4 alpha into t cube plus 2 beta into t plus gamma. Okay, so this is your acceleration, velocity. So you put t equals to 0 here. So how much will you get? You'll get 0 plus gamma. Okay, so v initial is nothing but gamma. So next is acceleration. How do you find acceleration? You differentiate this. Okay, it's velocity by differentiate bolation is ang pot diha. For 3 are 12 alpha into t square plus 2 beta. Okay, and initial to t equals to 0. T equals to 0 put lesson a to ang pot diham. So 0 plus 2 beta. So therefore a initial is 2 beta. Okay, so now we take the ratio of these two. So what is vi divided by ai? So gamma by 2 beta. Okay, so gamma by 2 beta. So that is the answer, D. Okay, so this is a medical exam question. So now this is the last question. Okay, so this is also from H.C. Verma. So just for practice purpose. First option li ki pi na chila hi x is given. So you're given 4 options. Let's just see them. So first option, so initial velocity is u. Initial velocity cho pi ham. So you differentiate the given x. So if you differentiate this, how much will you get? So this is ut minus 2u plus a into t square minus 4t plus 4. A minus b whole square formula. Ut minus 2u plus at square minus 4at plus 4a. Okay, so this is x. So what will be v? You differentiate with respect to t, you'll have u minus 0 plus 2at minus 4a plus 0. Okay, so how much is this? So u plus 2at minus 4a. Okay, so this is v. Initial velocity initial velocity to t equals to 0. You put t equals to 0 here. So how much will you have? V equals to u plus 0 minus 4a. Okay, so now this is not equals to u, right? So you still have 4a. Okay, so first option is wrong. What is the second option? What is the acceleration of the particle is a. So in order to find acceleration, you have to differentiate the v again. Okay, you differentiate it again. What will you get? V equals to bata chila hi t pa hi variable chura na. T hi variable hi lechun. So all these are constant. Okay, a jong hi constant, u jong hi constant. Okay, don't take it as a variable. Kutile chila hi sa diha 0 plus 2a minus 0 na. So this will be acceleration. Acceleration is how much? 2a. Okay, so it is not a. So option B is also wrong. Okay, so what is option C? Option C says acceleration is 2a, so that is correct. Okay, so what is option D? At t equals to 2, particle is at the origin. Na t equals to 2 hi chila nga put you x equals to 0 hum ponam. So you put t equals to 2 here. I will have x equals to u into 2 minus 2 plus a into 2 minus 2 equals to square. So you see that here I get x equals to 0. Okay, so since the particle is moving only along the x-axis, so y is 0. Okay, so y equals to 0 and x also equals to 0. That means particle is at x 0, 0. Okay, so that means the origin, right? So option D is also correct. Okay. Okay, so we have done so many questions na. Question tam ta in boltan he ho hi bula pare na. So you do it 2-3 times. Okay, so get yourself very comfortable. Chi concept hoy na chi ai chu ho question hi avial and solve will na bula pare solve lesson a chi dan khat a petan khat hin he beta chen. Okay, so this was the first part of motion in 1D. Basic quantities hona distance, displacement, speed, velocity, acceleration, average velocity, average speed. cho si chu chi tu video hi bolo hi tan. So you just go back and solve all of these questions again. Okay, so get yourself comfortable with these questions, and then after you finish all of this, so now you can go to some other books. Na book na ni ho chu na solve pan theo ta cho. Okay, so if you have solved all of this 2-3 times, books solve le chun na, so now it will become much more easier question solve on one of the okay. Ai chanin ngauten hang sao jong sao thim tain video ket phale khun hi chi concept homa mana distance, speed, acceleration ho a graph base topic evolved so recently, so they have started to ask they have asked many questions on graph. Okay, so we have to do those things again. Okay, so we'll stop here. Okay, so if you like, you can share it among your friends. Okay, so please like, and you can subscribe to my channel. Okay, okay, so see you in the next video. Thank you.